All right, welcome. This is Heart to Heart, episode number 2.
Here we are.
Here we are. Slightly different location. We're in our office. Back to work, January 2025. And in our first episode, we
talked about our intentions. So in our first episode, we talked about our intentions and kind of what we were hoping to take with us for 2025. And so today we thought we would just check in and
review, see how we're doing.
See how we're doing after a few weeks of letting it roll.
Yeah, so...
How's it going, Cameron?
So I had more intentions than you. I had three that I talked about.
Yes.
And believe it or not, I actually added more. And you don't have to make all your intentions like on December 31st or
no,
in
and
December.
they don't have to end up being the same ones.
Yeah, and
no,
so I'm kind
it's
of
evolving.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to me about it. So what were the intentions you originally talked about?
So my first one was doing strength training.
Yeah.
And in an effort to not get injured while I was doing my other things like running and swimming. So I have been running, so that's awesome.
Good job.
Not pushing hard, just trying to run and enjoy.
And how does it feel to run?
Feels fantastic.
I bet.
It's not outside. It's not doing exactly what I want yet,
Yeah.
but I got to start on the treadmill and go slow and feel good and stuff.
Yeah, because that's your jam, right?
Yeah,
and
it
to
is.
not do it is probably mentally harder than anything.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm running
Good.
and I'm swimming. Not really. I've only swam a couple of times.
Yeah.
I got to get more into swimming, and that's because I think I have a new work schedule, so I have to figure out how it works. But I have been doing strength training, and so strength training was one of my intentions, and the main goal was so that I didn't get injured while I was doing these other things that I'm sort of doing, and it's feeling good. I haven't injured myself strength training, and I think in some ways I'm getting stronger already.
And how does the strength training feel?
Yeah, it's good. It is a bit of work. I said the way I had to do it was to plan it, and I have planned it in, and I have been doing twice a week. That was my goal, to do at least twice a week. If I could get 3, that would be fantastic. But I've been doing twice a week. It has been making me stronger. And I'm looking forward to getting stronger and stronger because I think, as you know more about strength training than I know, it's gonna continue to get me stronger as I push myself down the road. But yeah, it's great. So.
And how about like the actual like doing it thing? Like, is it something where you're going into the strength training session kind of like, oh, I got to do this, I'm going to do it, and kind of like hyping yourself into it? Or is it something where you are enjoying it? Like running, you're like, oh, it's great, I love running. But, strength training might be a little bit of a different mindset for you.
No, I have been going in feeling positive. I think it's what I think I'm looking at what it's going to achieve for me.
Yeah.
If I thought about it as, I got to go lift weights, no, I'm going to get stronger. And that's the way I'm approaching it. And so because of that, I think it's working.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good. And it is still early in the year. But I have definitely had a good start. And I think because I'm creating this, it's creating a habit. I'm doing strength training.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to continue. So.
I think that the strength training in particular, well, exercise as a whole, but strength training for sure is one of those things where you have to take it into that uncomfortable zone to get really the benefit. Not pain, not hurting, but you have to challenge yourself and not be like, okay, that's good and I did it. Like if you can pick up the weight and chuck it across the room, it's really not challenging your body enough to make any sort of adaptation, right? So you have to challenge yourself enough to make that change. And sometimes when you're going into an activity that isn't really something that you overly enjoy, not you don't enjoy it, but it's not the same, right? Yeah. To then put yourself in that position of feeling uncomfortable and being okay with that is sometimes hard, right? It's with the motivation. It's sometimes hard to keep doing that. So good job.
It is. I'm very comfortable making myself physically uncomfortable when I run and when I swim. I work hard, and it's
not that we want pain. We don't. Want pain.
No. But I know how to push myself physically, and so that's usually not too much of an issue, especially when it comes to those things. Although I have a different kind of goal, like I have a specific race that I'm training for or whatever, and so it's slightly different that way. Strength training, it's not like I'm not going to do a CrossFit Games strength training competition, so it's a little bit different. So my ultimate goal is to feel good, get stronger, and then not get injured for
Yeah.
the other thing. So it's
Yeah,
not as
it's a
concrete of a
long-term-
goal.
Yeah, it's a long-term sort
So
of.
I make my goal doing the activity. I
Yeah.
make it the small steps, which I think works better for me. That my goal is to do this twice
Yeah.
a week, and
Yeah.
I'm doing it. So that's good. So that's one. How about you?
Well, my intentions were more on the kind of mindset side, where I was trying to work on allowing myself to feel that uncomfort, right? So to put myself out into that sort of, I'm growing. This is my phase of growing right now. And sometimes you need the cocoon phase, and I've had that for a little bit. And so now this is my phase of growing, and I was feeling that uncomfortness, with growing when you're doing something that you're not, that's a little bit outside your comfort zone. And I think it's going pretty good. I think it's going really well. I've
Good.
kind of just tried to embrace it and look at, it's positive growth. I had to initially almost, and I talked to you about this, rephrase my wording of my intention, because my original sort of wording was get comfortable in the uncomfortable.
Right.
And I knew what that meant in the sense of when I'm feeling these sort of growth moments, instead of kind of being like, oh, I'm coming away from it, that I'm actually going to know, I'm going to embrace it and I'm going to step forward into it. But I'm a big sort of proponent of your words and your thoughts lead to something, that it's actually important to think about how you say things and what you say. And so I didn't want it to be that I was like looking for uncomfortness, like that I was
Right.
looking for things to happen that was going to cause me to have to work through a challenge.
Right.
I was just more meaning it in the sense of, this positive growth, and that I'm embracing this positive growth. And so I had to change how I was saying that in my head.
Right.
But yeah, I've put myself out there in a few ways. I've embraced these new challenges with work and life and friends and things, and kind of exposing myself, outside of things that I would normally do.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah. And so, which has been great. And I've actually been really enjoying it. And honestly, it sounds kind of hokey, but I almost feel like we're kind of in this flow right now, that it's like we're almost like taking these positive steps. And so it's almost like opening some doors and opening things to happen for us, as we're kind of like,
The ball's rolling.
the ball's rolling in a
Yeah,
positive
momentum in the
direction.
right
Momentum
way.
is in the right way, where we're
Yeah.
kind of like, okay, we've aligned some things and we are working towards these
Yeah.
sort of ideas. And it's not that things have gone perfectly. Like, I definitely, in terms of my exercise and stuff, and yours as well, where we've had days that we didn't do the workout. We had days where, like last night, we had wine and chips with dinner.
Yeah.
And, like, it's not like we're, following everything to a T, but we're balancing, and that we're not, and this is something we talked about as well, we're not beating ourselves up around the things that don't go exactly as planned.
Right. Yeah.
Right? And trying to look at, okay, well, what wins did we have?
Right.
And embracing those wins and keeping the momentum going. And the ones that didn't go as well, we're getting back on and continuing to move.
Yeah. My big thing is reassessing sort of my day-to-day scheduling, planning stuff, because I now know when I basically work a regular schedule versus all over the map, which I was doing for so long.
Yeah.
And so it's nice, but it's different. And so if, not my work schedule doesn't perfectly match when I can swim. So I just have to figure it out, and I am figuring it out, and it's going well. And it is nice to know sort of, okay, well, I'm working around this, so let's make it work.
Yeah.
And so it's been good.
It's been nice. So tell me about, you said you had a couple new intentions.
Yeah. So I'm reading a book, and I'm almost done. And
which in itself is huge.
yes, that was one of my goals.
Yeah.
I talked about meditating, and I talked about journaling, and I am meditating and I'm journaling, and you can always say you could do more, and I could, but I'm doing it. It's helping me, and then the other thing that I'm trying to do is get more into the analog world and out of the digital world. And this is part of because of that book, and it started because I started reading and not watching TV at night. So it's kind of rolling in that direction too.
Exactly, right.
And so it's called How to Calm Your Mind. And I really have enjoyed the book. I'm on the last chapter, and it's a fellow who is an expert in productivity and has been on TED Talks and gone around the world and done things on productivity. And then at some point he had a bit of a breakdown, like burnout. And so he spent a year trying to find calm. And because of his finding calm and doing all this research, he wrote a book. He has made himself more productive because he's spending time in the analog world. That's one of his things. And that's one of the things I think that I started. I never was a cell phone person, but you just get in this habit of, you do this thing and you look at your phone, and you do this thing and you look at your phone. And in the last week and a half, I have not. And I've set limits on when I check my email and when I do all these things. And I deleted news apps off of my phone. And I've been reading more. And so I feel good about it.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's actually an addiction. And
Talk about that a little bit.
yeah, they talk about all these dopamine hits. And so there's so many things that are dopamine hits. And super stimuli, he calls them. And definitely phones and getting feedback and looking at news, which is bad. And all these things tend to increase dopamine, and our bodies aren't meant for that. Our bodies are meant for when we were 100,000 years ago, where our dopamine hit should have been surviving, really.
Yeah, and dopamine's a feel-good hormone.
It is a feel-good hormone, so you're addicted to it. And so some of these things that are less stimulating, like reading versus watching the news, have less of a dopamine rush in your system. It's a neurotransmitter, and a feel-good neurotransmitter. And so it takes some time to get over it. And but all I'm recognizing is that sometimes I'll pick, and I'm like, oh, I just picked up my phone, and you
didn't even
recognize
realize that you did.
and then you don't go into it, and you get better at it.
Yeah,
and so that's actually been one of my new intentions, is to not be as connected digitally, and more analog stuff, which I really like. The analog stuff, walking the dog in the forest, and I'm enjoying my reading, and I'm enjoying all these things. So it's another thing, and it's going really well. And so I actually am finding that I'm having more time to do some of the things that I have to do, and not feeling sort of stressed about it.
Well, yeah, and I think it's one of those things that I know, when your body, or when your brain, mine anyways, when I'm a bit stressed out, or maybe it's been a longer day or whatever it is, you're looking for this dopamine hit to help soothe you, right? To help calm you. And so I'll end up looking at Facebook or Instagram, or going and watching some random thing on TV or whatever it is. And you're getting this dopamine thing, but it didn't actually make you feel better. It makes you feel better for the moment, but then it's almost like you're just overstimulating or over consuming.
Right.
And that itself isn't helping you to reduce the stress. So it's this
it actually increases
it actually increases it. And so then you're looking at news, or whatever you're absorbing, you're also now trying to process. So I do feel definitely, I know for myself, as soon as you sit down, it's you're looking for that little bit of hit. So I can understand.
So I think you've been kind of following suit a little bit.
I've been trying. Look, I haven't done it as much as you, but
I'm
definitely
doing it fast.
Yeah,
it's going well.
Yeah.
And I know it's going to get easier, and that's the nice thing.
Yeah.
As I get into it and create habits.
Yeah.
It's all about creating habits and making things good. So yeah, I've added that intention.
Nice.
And my other intention was around nutrition, which I didn't get specific about. I'm talking about all my intentions here.
That's okay. Go ahead. You had more.
And it's going better too. There aren't as many treats at work, which is nice and makes it easier, but there still are. And I'm doing better at saying no. And saving up for, we celebrate birthdays with cupcakes. So I save it for that, rather than just some junk food that's in our junk food drawer. And so I do it on a special time, and it means more. And so I'm doing better, and it's helping at home too. We're making better choices and shopping better and doing all those things. So it is momentum. It does take time, and I think planning is planning grocery shopping, planning what you're going to buy, planning what you're going to cook. Planning when you're going to do things. And for me, it helps. And not only planning, but having backup plans, and planning in good things. And we've been doing that too. Not only work, but planning in good things. And so it's nice. You feel more balanced. I feel more balanced.
Yeah. And I think the things that you're working on complement each other, right? The calming your mind and kind of having more time to read and journal and meditate is then also helping with your staying on track with your nutrition and your exercise and trying not to get stressed out if you miss your swimming or,
Right.
you know, things like that. So,
Yeah, and I've noticed my productivity has gone up too, and that's sort of this from this book. But it's interesting. I've read a few other good books. One is called Tranquility by Tuesday, and I'm rereading certain chapters because there's 9 different things you can do, and a lot of these things have similar themes. These books have similar themes and similar ideas, and you can take what works from one and not from another, and it's great. I like where it's going. So
yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So my biggest new intention, I guess, is to really get hammered down when I'm going to get back in the pool.
Yeah.
I love swimming because you can swim and you
Feels
feel
good.
good after.
Doesn't hurt your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's hard getting up early. It's hard jumping in the
Oh,
cold
I can't
water.
imagine.
All this stuff.
It's not me getting up at the crack of dawn and
But it
jumping
does
in
feel
cold
good.
water.
And I swim with a
It's
club.
not. Yes.
So anybody trying to figure out how to get activity into, if that's one of your intentions, is activity, and we know it's absolutely amazing to do activity for so many reasons.
Yeah.
Like all the risk factors, blood pressure, cholesterol, controlling diabetes if you have it, controlling body weight, and then all the mental stuff, stress, all those things. Exercise is so good.
It is.
Find something that you like.
Yeah.
There's something out there that you like. You have to. If it's not something you like, you're not going to do it. So find something you like, and there's so many options. And just by walking in a different place or being in a group setting, like I swim with a club, there's group exercise, there's so many things. Find something you like, because that will make a big difference. Absolutely.
And potentially doing it with a buddy.
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
have.
Whether it's in a club or with a buddy, tell
Yeah.
people about it. But if activity is one of your intentions, which I hope it is for everybody, because it is something that our bodies need, really find something you like, because there is something that
And
fits
small
out there.
things like I've been at the university and Pulse too. It's a virtual company, and so I spend a lot of time sitting and on the computer and working. And so I actually have a standing desk now, which I'm so excited about, because that in itself, I think, is going to make a difference to how my body feels at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Just being able to get up. And I did have it where like I'd set my phone, and every so often I'd get up and do like a few squats or whatever it is to try and, but I do get very focused on what I'm doing. And so it was more challenging to have these moments
Yeah.
of standing.
Yeah.
So
great.
now I can just have my desk be standing.
Yeah. And activity,
Yeah.
the health benefits of activity,
Yeah.
they add up with little chunks. So take
Yeah.
small bites, and anything you do is better than nothing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think
Yeah.
those are my intentions, my things. I still, because of the early mornings, I have to figure out early morning meditating and journaling, but I'm doing better on the mornings that aren't early. And otherwise, I think
I think we've been doing good with
Yeah.
prioritizing sleep. That's another big one.
Yeah.
That can be challenging, even if that means we're going to bed at literally 8:30. I heard someone at one point say, like, when you're a kid, you keep complaining that your bedtime's 9 p.m. Like, I don't want to go to bed at 9 p.m. And now it's like, your bedtime's 9 p.m. Like,
Oh, yeah.
as an adult, it's like, no, for real. It's actually the perfect bedtime. Well, good job.
Yeah. So
I'm happy we're on a roll, and I think it's something like we talked about already, that it's imperfect action, right? Like we're taking these steps forward, we're taking these action steps forward, trying to keep connecting them to what our goals are.
Yep.
And why we're doing this. So our internal
your
why.
why,
Our internal why of like why we're doing this in the first place, to help us get through those hard sort of moments.
Yep.
But when it doesn't go well, we're still just getting up and
Yeah.
continuing.
Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah. And we're not trying not to attach it to an actual outcome as well, which
Yes.
is sometimes a bit where people are focused on, I want to lose X amount of pounds by this date, or I want to, whatever. You can have an idea of where you're going and why you're doing it, and, that type of thing. But just knowing that these actions are going to get you there.
Yeah. Make your goals your action steps.
Focusing on the actions and instead of like, where's the thing and I want it right now.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, no, just keep focusing on the actions and know that or something very much better will come along.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Well, good job.
Yeah. We'll
Well
follow
done.
up. I think we should follow up on intentions later.
Yeah, we'll do
Later
some
in
other
the
things
year.
in our
Yeah.
next talk. But yeah, so we've got a few things coming up. So
February is heart
February's
month.
heart month,
Lots
so
of
we'll
stuff.
be talking a lot about hearts in February.
Yeah. We're not sure what our heart to heart will be, but it will be good.
Yeah. Probably maybe something along women's heart health.
Something about hearts.
Something about hearts. Something about hearts. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's awesome.
Thank you for listening.
Well done.
Yeah.
Episode 2.
Yeah.
That was loud. Okay. Bye.